Hey guys, what's up? Today in the Brick Lab we're going to be upgrading Kai's newest old ride, his X-1 Charger from Rebooted. So in my humble opinion, Kai's X-1 Legacy Charger is absolutely fantastic. It's amazing and a great car, and you'll notice that I'm not comparing it to the original, and that's because they are two different cars. There's the actual X-1 Charger, which is that set that came out during Rebooted, and there's this one, which is basically a reincarnation that is very much different and also very much equally awesome. And yeah, so I'm not going to compare the two because obviously if you have the original, you probably have some nostalgia attached with it, and obviously something new and different isn't going to be able to compare. Anyway, this new set is not without its flaws, however. And from the front, this actually looks pretty good. You will also notice, as a quick side note here, that I did not apply the stickers to it. And I just really didn't feel like it. I mean, I feel like this set is absolutely perfect without them, and the stickers just aren't necessary in this case. Some builds do need them, yes, because the builds are bland and boring, but this one looks great without them. And one of the first things that probably caught your eye, besides the ninja sword sticking out here, was the little spring-loaded cannon turret. And on the set, as you no doubt know if you already have this, you can only lift up the spring-loaded turret and move it up and down. Whereas on the X1 from Rebooted, you could actually lift it up and spin it all around. So I decided to recreate that function here as well. So you can see right now it's just locked into place. It's fairly secure, but if you lift it up, you can move that spring-loaded shooter around. I think actually almost 360. Well, no, you can do it a full 360 degrees. Anyway, you can see basically it's the spring-loaded shooters. You just lift it up, spin it around when you're done, and boom, it's locked into place out of sight. Now lift them up and you have no problem. You can just launch them away and that one's gone. And honestly, my biggest reason for wanting to upgrade this set was the back of the car, because I actually have the back already upgraded, so I'm just gonna throw a picture from the brick set review up here. Yeah, this was basically what the car looked like, and if you compare that to the original X-1 Charger, it's just kind of sad. Now, I understand LEGO's reasoning for doing this. Obviously, when you're displaying the X-1 Charger, you're going to display from the front, and no one's going to see the back, and so the back of the car really isn't as important, so obviously you can tell they decided to put their attention into the front of the car. But I mean, it's still sad that for a set that's this great, it just kind of falls flat in an area that's, well, it's just kind of sad that it falls flat toward the end. So I decided to go ahead and upgrade that, and here's just the simple fix that I came up with. Basically, you can see we have some swords making up a sort of rear bumper, which is probably not accurate to any sports car whatsoever, but I kind of like the look of it, and it sort of reminded me of the Samurai VXL, but in reverse, so that's what I did here. I also added in two smaller little thrusters here, along with this bigger main thruster. So taking it apart, it was actually really simple to modify this. Basically, I went to page 101, step 108, and in sub-steps 2 and 3, I basically just switched the order of those. So instead of putting down this red brick first on top of this light gray plate, I basically just put the dark gray plate down and then put this red brick into place. And then from there, what I did was I took 4 of these dark gray brackets and then just plugged them into the underside of the car here. And LEGO math works out perfectly, which means that those brackets, when you put this plate on, line up perfectly with that plate. And then from there, what I did was I added in these red curved tiles just to keep the car from looking so boxy, and then added in a bunch of dark gray clips, and then just threw on some golden katanas. And then lastly, of course, I put on this thruster nozzle jet exhaust brick, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, basically I call that good for the back end of the car. And that's pretty much it for that. Those are all the mods that I made to the actual car. Now, at this point, you're probably curious about the swords, and you're wanting to take a look at the bike, and I cannot blame you. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bike. And one thing I should point out is that I also replaced the yellow Technic pieces here with just straight up black ones. And I realize again why LEGO did it, because obviously kids are going to be playing with the set and they kind of need to know where that button is to launch the bike. But since I'm not a kid, I don't. So I just swapped it out with black so that it wouldn't stick out as much and be such an eyesore. But yeah, the bike function remains the same. You just push back on this little thing here and boom, out goes Kai's upgraded bike here. And the original bike did look quite a bit unfinished, and that's probably because the set designers ran out of parts since they used so many parts on the rest of the car. And the project manager came in and was like, "Guys, you can't be doing this. We can't be having sets that are this detailed. This isn't Monkey Kid. We can't sell this thing for $100. The budget's only $50 for the set." And then the designers were like, "Great, well, nobody will see the bike anyway," and they just stopped working on it, and that's why it looks so trash. And I didn't have to change the structure of the bike at all. I basically just kind of finished up the design a little bit, made it look a little bit better. I put some red bushings here to cover up the ugly black axle that makes it look so unfinished. There wasn't really anything I could do with these axles just because these are how it attaches to the actual X-1 Charger. And I mean, if you want, you could maybe make it look a little bit neater by putting a light gray half bushing here. That might help kind of smooth out the design a little bit, but it honestly really doesn't bother me, and in my opinion, this connection actually looks a whole lot better than the one on the original bike, but hey, that's just me. And then what I did was I replaced those. There was a pair of brown 3-length rods here. I'm not sure why. It, again, kind of made it look unfinished, so I just swapped them out with these Lord of the Rings elf swords. It makes the bike look a whole lot more sleek and a whole lot more ninja-y, in my opinion. And then I gave the bike actual handlebars. The original set had some kind of weird control panel, which, again, I mean, this is supposed to be some escape pod, so it's not like Kai needs some super high-tech defense system on it, but whatever. Anyway, I replaced it with some more traditional handlebars, and then on the back here, you can see that's where things got a little more fancy. I added in some of these cool swords here, along with a rear mudguard for the bike tire. And I will say I am kind of torn on this this mudguard design. I feel like I really like the dragon head designs here, and it also gives Kai extra weapons that he can draw and use in battle. But on the other hand, it kind of is just a little bit much, and I probably won't be including it when I display the Charger. I'm probably just going to take them out. But yeah, for the mudguard, the rear mudguard, I basically just used 2 of those gray robot arms and some red horns. I'm not a huge fan of the horns. They just kind of make it look a little too organic and a little bit too much like claws instead of a mudguard. But at the same time, it was one of the best pieces that worked here, so that's why I stuck with it. And then, of course, I replaced the yellow piece here with a red one, which was actually from the front of the bike. So yeah, that was basically it. And the one downside is that I really like to... I really think the bike looks best with the horns with the swords at a slight angle, kind of angled up only slightly. But unfortunately, it doesn't fit into the X-1 Charger like this. It kind of runs into the side. So in order to push it all the way in, you actually kind of have to angle the swords up a little bit, which makes them look like antenna. And again, as I pointed out, I'm not a huge fan of this, so I'll probably keep working on the rear mudguard design here, maybe see if I can fix something with the swords. Otherwise, on its own, I think it makes the bike look a whole lot better. Oh, and the elven swords are kind of a nice little throwback, I think, to Kai and Nia's bike chase from the Skybound wave from 2016, where I think it was Nia's bike that actually used these on the back to hold some of those flag pieces. But yeah, anyway, that was basically it for the bike here. It's nothing too complex, but it's basically just a glorified escape pod, so it really doesn't have to be. But yeah, those were really all the changes that I felt that I had to make to the X-1 Charger in order to bring it up to par with the original. So I could be wrong. Maybe you think it needs more. Maybe you think I did too much. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. But anyway, I think that'll do it for this old car. Alright, that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and do all that other good stuff. And if you want to see more of my content, please feel free to check out the other videos on my channel. And if there's something you want to see me build, feel free to leave a comment in the comments section below, and I will see what I can do. Again, that's all I have for you guys today, so I will see you next time.